Hey everyone, I'm back today making another video. I'm back to making quote videos for the time being. So the second quote that I've written after the YC conference I want to share with you today is the following. When in doubt, don't give up. It's through hardships and burns to allow us to become stronger, to allow us to deal with and overcome adversity. If we didn't experience certain hardships and burns, this may not be possible. In the end, most hardships and burns are a good thing, because they allow us to become the person we are supposed to be. So this is kind of similar to the first quote I've written, a similar meaning, a similar mindset you need to try to look at this quote. So to break it down, what I think it means is, so I'll read out the first part and break it, I'll read each part and break it down as I go. So when in doubt, don't give up. So that means when we were experiencing doubt, when we were having a really hard time with something, like, of course we all have moments we feel like we want to give up. We just want it to end right there because we're just suffering so much. Like we just want it all in, just to magically go away and be done with it. But however, the easy thing to do is to give up. And for all times we've given up on something, but later on, as we look back on it later in life, we wish we haven't given up on that. We wish we would have kept going with whatever it is that we were working on achieving, or something that we were struggling with. So it's important, I feel, just to not to give up when we're experiencing those times, because if we don't give up, we'll eventually be rewarded for that perseverance and that commitment or the strength that we showed just through those difficult times. So again, next part of the quote is through hardships and burns that allow us to become stronger. They allow us to deal with and overcome adversity. So I guess what that means is that just through the hardships, because if we never had hardships, if everything in life was just so easy, like if we can just get up and go about our day with having no struggle or no conflict like whatsoever, if everything was just so smooth and perfect, and like how can we grow as people? How can we become stronger people? Like how can we get smarter physically? How can we get smarter mentally? I mean, how can we grow in strength? How can we grow in strength physically? Like how can we grow as emotional as emotional human beings? How can we grow spiritually? How can we achieve greater faith in whatever our beliefs are? That wouldn't be possible if there was absolutely no struggle or any type of conflict or hardship that we're dealing with in our life. So next part of the quote is, if we didn't experience certain hardships and burdens, this may not be possible. So that just to carry on there. So I can relate to that in my own life personally. I'm sure you all have a certain story and experience in your own life that you can relate to as well. If I never had liver sarcoma cancer, when I was 5 years old, of course, that was a really hard time in my life, and of course, when you're 5, you only look at it from the perspective of being sick and in the hospital and not living the life that your friends would live at the time, like going to school regularly, and just doing homework, having fun time with your friends, just things that a 5-year-old and a 6-year-old would typically do in that time in your life. But so yeah, so of course, look back on it now, I can imagine it being hard on me, like from growing and developing as a person, just living like a life that a child is supposed to live at that time in your life. But just looking back on it now, I can imagine that being even harder for my family, because of course I had back then like a mom and dad who really like cared about my well-being, and I can only imagine like a 5-year-old who's going through cancer, like how hard that could be on them, and also like all the other members of my family. So of course that was a really hard time in my life and my family's life as well. But now looking back on it now, it'll be 20 years ago this November when I first got, when the tumor got found in my liver, and my 4.5-pound cancer tumor got found. So just looking back on all those years ago, like a lot of it was just like, it was really like it. I guess that's what I described it. It was just really needed to happen, because like if I never got the cancer, I would have not have met all the amazing doctors and nurses at the Janeway. I would have never met like all my great friends who also had cancer. Would have not had like formed those friendships and those bonds that I still have today. I'm in touch with more of my like cancer friends now than I ever have been before. I feel like we're just like learning so much more from them that we're adults. Just talking about our stories, looking back on those times, like there's people like I've went to the Janeway with, like we played like video games together. Just that's one of our main like things we did when we were together. Like that just brings back. I said like just like despite having cancer and feeling really sick at that time, like it was just through those memories and through those times that, like through playing like the video games, that was just a really good memories that I still have today, and that I very, very much so cherish. So I guess really back to my quote, if I never had that hardship of cancer, I would have not had like any of those memories. I would have not met any of those like doctors, nurses, and my friends who also had cancer that I'm still in touch with today. So I guess for the last part of the quote, I believe it is, I'll just read it out and give you my thoughts on it. So in the end, most hardships and burdens are a good thing. It allows us to become the person we are supposed to be. So I feel like, especially with my cancer, I feel that's what brought me where I am now today in my life. And still have my other hardships. I guess I guess you say my main hardship that I had in life was when I was diagnosed with celiac disease when I was 16 years old. But there was a bit more to it than simply being diagnosed. I lean up to being diagnosed, and it was September 2011 when I was diagnosed with celiac. It's like the year before that. I believe it started in the summer of 2010. I say around June, so just when summer people were getting out of school. I've just finished within grade 9 at the time. So from that June of 2010 to September 2011, that was just a really like difficult time in my life. I was people I went to school with, like probably not even many people would know this, but because I just didn't really talk about it. During that time, I was just like, I was just miserable physically. I was really not that healthy. I was really sick. Every day like, at home before I would before I even go to school in the morning, I would be throwing up, just barely having the energy to get out of bed. I could barely just the stuff like getting ready for school, like getting a shower, drinking something to eat before I go to school. Even just that was such a challenge. I would just be like throwing up every morning and just going to school hungry and tired. Like I wasn't that good about like I never talked about it, because looking back I really don't know why, honestly. I just this wasn't comfortable. I was just too shy to talk about it. I didn't want people to know I was sick. I didn't want to miss out on the activities in school and being with my friends and just what you would typically do like in junior high and high school. Like I didn't want to miss out on any of that. Now then that just carried on like all throughout that school year and the next summer 2011 as well. I kept on like having very low energy, throwing up pretty much on a daily basis, having headaches, really bad stomach, just everything. I was just really off. Like I was not like a typical 15 and 16-year-old, a healthy 15 and 16-year-old like I should be. And basically got to the point where I lost like so much weight. I believe at the end of this I lost I think it was 50 pounds. I lost 50 pounds from the weight I was before I was getting sick until I started to find out what was wrong with me. So then it got to that point where I was just losing so much weight, and just like a 16-year-old, this shouldn't be the case with a 16-year-old. When I started to go back to the Janeway, so this is my first time having like to regularly go to the Janeway again about doing close to 10 years, because I was cancer free since December 2001, and this was the summer of 2011 when I started going back for to get tests done, just to see what was wrong. Why was I throwing up all the time? Why was I losing weight? Like, why am I having these headaches and stomach pains and just this general like really weak and fatigue all the time? Like, why? Like, what's causing this? So there's at the point in September 2011 where we finally try to get to the bottom of this. So I went to the Janeway to start getting like all kinds of tests. Like I guess of course I was so sick at the time. Some of them were like pretty embarrassing tests, honestly. It was just so I had to get tested for like all kinds of different cancers and different possible medical conditions that I might have, and they tested negative for like all the main types of cancers that you can get tested for. So with that, that was a really big relief after that. No why I'm feeling sick. It's not because of cancer. It's because of something else that I got. So after like the cancer got ruled out, that I don't have any type of cancer, I got a scope done on my stomach. I believe they're called a scopy, a type of scopy, where they put like the tube down your throat, and they just look around with the camera and just to see if everything is all like good there, see if you have any problems in your stomach. So I got that done. I got that test done. I believe that was would have had to be in August or September 2011, because when I got the results of that test back, doctor said you have celiac disease, and of course my mom was there with me at the time. We're like, what is this? Like, celiac disease? Like, we've never even heard this before. Like, what is this? This is, we don't know what this is, like, kind of thing. So then, of course, the doctor briefly walked us through like what celiac disease is. Like it's a immune condition that like some people have. Basically, the only way to, well, you can't cure it, because for people who got it, like any autoimmune condition, you like you always have it. Like it will never go away. Like a flu or illness, or like most kinds of cancer would. So the only way to treat it, the only way for you like basically to feel normal again, for you to like get your energy back, for you to like to gain weight and just to live like a normal life that a teenager would live, is to follow a gluten-free diet. And we're like, gluten-free what? What is gluten-free? How do you eat gluten-free? Like how does that all work? Of course, we had no idea. We didn't know what that means. So then the doctor then sets up an appointment to see a dietitian, and the dietitian. So then when we went to see the dietitian, then she told us, like, she explained to us like what a gluten-free diet means, like what's the foods, all the foods that you can eat and the foods that you can no longer eat. So basically, just what gluten-free diet is, she summed up was, it's a diet where you cannot eat any foods that contain wheat, barley, rye, or oats, because they're the four main foods that have gluten, that gluten is present in. And of course, that's still like a foreign language to us. We still didn't really understand that. So then the dietitian said, just you gotta read like labels. Like when you go to the grocery store, like always check labels and the ingredient list on your food, and make sure that there's no wheat, barley, rye, or oats in any of the foods that you eat. So that was basically, I guess, it for that appointment. So we went home, and then that was just like another, like a new journey officially start in my life. I had to follow or at least try to follow a gluten-free diet from that point out in my life. But so never really came that easy. In the next, I'm gonna say 2 years after that. So for the rest of 2011, all through 2012, and I think most of 2013 as well, it was a challenge to try to eat 100% gluten-free, because there's still so many like things that we just had like no idea like what to do. So not only we found out later, because I was still like throwing up from time to time, I was still not feeling as well as I should be. Because gluten is just not simply in food; it's also in other things like drinks and like protein powders and just like other things you consume like that. It's also in I guess you can call it cosmetic items, like even like mouthwash and toothpaste, and like shampoos. Like even those things contain gluten, and I didn't know that till, like I said, it was through. That's why I was throughout like a lot of 2012 and most 2013 as well. I was still not feeling. I was feeling a lot better because I was starting to figure out a master gluten-free diet. I was still like throwing up, very miserable from time to time because I was using mouthwashes and toothpaste and shampoos that contain gluten, and the only way I found that out was I found that on my own, just doing like research, like typing on Google, like probably things like finding a gluten-free diet. Why am I still feeling sick? Why am I not feeling like well, basically? Why am I not a normal, sort of, been 17 or 18 years old at that time, throughout 2012 and 2013. So then that was the big discovery, and I finally found out what was causing my sickness, like why I was still throwing up and having stomach pain and just not generally having the energy that a healthy young person should have. So then, once I finally figured that out, my problem with my sickness was just due to the mouthwash and toothpaste, shampoos I was using. So now I buy gluten-free versions of all those things. So didn't I say it was then by early 2014, I would probably consider myself to be 100% gluten-free at that time. I was, as they say, clean as a whistle. Like finally, I'm feeling healthy and back to myself. Because it was at the point I was starting to figure out, like, okay, I'm doing, because it was in top of this in my first video, that it was April 2014 when I figured out I wanted to do the business program at the College of the North Atlantic. So I figured that part of my life, I'm feeling healthier, I'm gaining like weight back, I got my energy, I'm more active. I just started recently going to Good Life at that time, so I'm gaining like muscle mass back and stamina and more energy, and just generally getting in a lot better shape than I was just not really doing a whole lot physical activity though for those couple of years prior. Then I went to college that September. Then I finished the business program, and I guess here I am now in February 2020 with the plan to start gluten-free business this summer. I guess that ties up my thoughts on the quote that I share with you, which I'll read out again, just to have it out there to help you keep it in mind. So when in doubt, don't give up. It's through hardships and burdens that allow us to become stronger, to allow us to deal with and to overcome adversity. If we don't experience certain hardships and burdens, this may not be possible. But in the end, most hardships and burdens are a good thing, because they allow us to become the person we are supposed to be. So, like always, I thank you very much for watching this video. I've already gotten a few like messages from my friends saying that they enjoy my videos, and they're glad that I'm opening up, sharing stories of my personal life, and just I guess just letting everyone know just more of who I am. Like people, of course, know like a lot of things about me. Like even who see me, like I said, throughout grade school or college or other outside activities like martial arts when I was in karate throughout all my youth. You know who I am through all that. You know what I'm interested in. You know, I like martial arts, video games, lots of different kinds of sports, and spiritual activities. You know all those things about me. I'm still the exact same person, but and I'm sure I'll always enjoy those things. But that's who I am. That's part of my core. But now I'm just sharing more things to you, just the other side of me that I've been, just hesitant and shy to share with you until now. So that concludes this video. I'll most likely upload another video in a few days. Sometimes it might be longer than a few days. It just all depends on just when I have that tug in my heart, when I know when I need to make a video and to share it with all of you. God bless. Peace.